Hey Anna, Daphne here. Great essay this morning. You did so well. Really, really impressed by that. And then, okay, now we're going to listen to your lovely speaking. So this is describing about an important building in your town or city. And we're going to look at using linking expressions to make your sentences longer. So remember, there's such a strong connection between some of these speaking elements and also the writing. So this is the same thing that you would do in the writing as well.
I would like to talk about the Kursaal, which is an opera building next to the beach in my town. So it's in first line of the beach. You can directly see the waves. And
so when you say in first line of the beach, do you mean straight in front of the beach? Maybe, but it doesn't matter. Good start.
And the horizon from the views of inside of the building.
Wow.
And it looks pretty modern. And sorry, let me get back to where it is. Let me describe that a bit better. Mm-hmm. It's next to the river, and it's also really close to the old quarter. So it's basically in between the surface beach and the old quarter, and just there, and limiting the older town and the living area.
Okay, fantastic. I love how you go, oh, hang on, can we just rewind here, please? If that happens, don't worry. You could always say, I should have added, it just marks, or it sits right between. We can use this word sit. It sits right in between the old quarter, which you can add in a bit more there, which is full of the most traditional houses, and the beach, where the surfers go, something like that. But absolutely, I understand. Really good.
And the city center. And it looks pretty modern, especially it poses a significant contrast if you think about the other buildings that you see next to it.
Okay, so watch out here. Poses a contrast is beautiful, but pretty modern, and the buildings you see next to it is too informal. So you could say it was built recently and the style is modern architecture, or it represents a modern style of architecture. It is a bit strange doing this. It will, if you're used to speaking more casual English with your friends and stuff, this is going to seem unusual. You've got to think about it like talking to a teacher or talking to somebody really, really old almost, who would not understand sort of more informal language. So we need to go with this formality. So you could say it was built in a modern style of architecture, and I forgot that bit about you, but try not to use you.
Because my hometown is a really traditional city.
Good.
It has a quite an elegant style, and
nice.
This building really makes itself noticeable because of its uniqueness within the rest of the style of the houses.
That is beautiful. That is absolutely lovely. Super work.
And it's used for, as I said, operas and also cinema, for the cinema festival, which is every year, once a year, and happening in this building.
Careful with that. Just literally present simple tense. Oh, it happens every year, or takes place every year, or which is an annual event. That's another way that you could do that. But literally present tense, because it's a fact and it's a repetition. It happens all the time.
And it has a red carpet then, and so that's what it is basically used for cultural events, and to hold exhibitions also sometimes, and these kind of things.
Yeah, you don't need to go backwards. You've said it. That's absolutely lovely. You could say, for example, the last film, if you need to feel, I kind of feel you want to expand. So if you want to expand like that, you could say, for example, the last film festival in 2019 was a magical event where film stars from all over the world flew in to celebrate their latest movies. Blah, 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 doesn't matter. But if you feel you need more, then just make up we talked about that today, didn't we? Make up an example.
City authorities to provide me with 4 questions.
Okay, careful now. I don't know if I missed a bit, but don't remember this. Don't forget this, I mean. So this is all about, is it important to protect historical buildings or not? So don't forget that bit there.
Total. I need to read them, and then you'll see them on the screen.
Okay, so this is an important bit, this final bit. So I don't think I heard you say that. What the buildings are important for. So should you protect them? So I would say something like, for example, in my opinion, it's extremely important to protect old buildings because they represent the culture of a city, and they are often held in great esteem by many members of the population who understand the history, something like that. But always answer every single bit of the question, remember. So let's go on to this part 3. So what I wanted to focus here was on the conditionals. Same, useful for the essays as well. So second conditionals and third conditionals. Second conditionals, if something happened. So if I was lucky enough to watch an opera in that opera house, I would be incredibly happy. If governments restored old buildings, their heritage would be preserved. Okay. Third conditional is a little bit more unusual and we don't use it much. If you can ever use it, do try. It's fantastic. Lots of marks. If the government had protected that building, they didn't, but if they had, it wouldn't have fallen down. If they had invested in that building, it wouldn't have fallen down. Okay, so those are your conditionals that you might use.
First one. Do you think it's the duty of city authorities to provide cultural attractions such as museums and galleries?
That's an interesting question. I think the city definitely should provide its citizens with cultural events and offer its citizens the opportunity to develop themselves, to open their mind, and to consume shows or events that are enriching for themselves in order to also ensure that you have a smart population. No, not smart population, but intellectual population.
Good, absolutely fine. You're doing great. This is fantastic. Your pronunciation, by the way, is beautiful. And I love how you're really making an effort not to repeat the words in the question, because that was something we talked about before. So really, really good there. Don't be embarrassed. Keep going. Yeah, you're fantastic. Cultural attractions. So we're thinking why? Yeah, in order to educate, in order to allow people to have some relaxation time, allow people to understand different cultures, different parts of the world, for example, allow people to explore the past, enjoy their passion for art. There's lots of kind of things you could say. The trick obviously is thinking about it really quickly.
Should lessons about art and local culture be included in all schools from an early age?
Yes, not from all cultures, but from your own culture, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it's very important that children are taught about culture and so literature, theatre, and all these different variations of arts.
Well done. Good.
Also, of course, painting and painting, but not from all the different cultures. But I think it's important that they are aware of how their own culture looks like, and
Okay, so we need to. I completely get what you're saying, but we need to kind of upgrade this. So you need to be looking at putting some more grammar in here. So you could use one of those conditionals here. If the school day included an element of history and local culture, we don't want to say that word all the whole time, do we? But of local history, and to help the children understand where they come from. So I've started with if, children may be more, or may appreciate their heritage more, or children may understand their country more. So it would really work getting a conditional in there. If you wanted to expand, you could say, for example, in my country, all children have to have art and history lessons about, or local, well, hang on, let me go. All children have to have local art and history lessons up until the age of 11 as part of the curriculum. So it's obliged, okay?
Not about all cultures.
Good.
Is it still relevant to look after or restore old buildings when so many people need affordable housing?
That's a tough question.
Yep.
Because of course the life of a person is much more important, or the housing, the accommodation of homeless people, or not even homeless. It can also be families which have less money and financial resources, the life and the house of these people should be put above culture, actually.
Good. But careful, we're not talking about culture, we're talking about restoring old buildings, but you're absolutely on the right track. Yeah, of course it's incredibly important. A lot of people are homeless, a lot of people are unemployed and they're homeless, they have nowhere to shelter. So it's a very good question to ask whether money should be spent looking after old buildings instead. So you could say, on the one hand, this might work quite nicely, on the one hand, of course, money should be allocated or distributed for new building. However, as part of protecting the culture of a nation, there should ideally be a budget for protecting old buildings as well. So we could use should and should on that one.
If you think about it, theoretically. But yeah, it's also true that if there was no culture events and the city didn't ensure that citizens have the possibility to consume concerts and cultural events, the population of a country or a city would, as a consequence, also be pretty bored and probably not as intellectual as they could be.
Good. Intellectual educated you could have. Good. Just quick little point on that one. So that wasn't really talking about culture, that was terms of restoring old buildings. So make sure you're just actually on the right question. Be careful also on this word consumption. I can be a consumer, which means I buy lots of different things, but when I consume something, usually that is food. So I can't consume culture because that would be like eating it. I can consume ice cream, or I can consume 3 cups of tea a day or whatever, but I don't, the idea of consuming culture means I'm just like drinking it all day long, which is okay, you can say it, but it would be more unusual. So be careful here, the examiner might just think you've got that wrong. So does art give our life meaning?
Our life meaning? Or is it a distraction from real life? There's a quite wide range.
That is a question I have never asked myself, but I believe that art is something that allows us to. It is an attraction. Oh my God! Yes, it is of course an attraction because it's in itself an industry. I wouldn't say that it is a way of giving meaning to life. I would say it's a way of expression, emotions, and ideologies.
Great.
And, all these different contents that are in the mind of an artist. But rather than giving meaning to life, it give a distraction, or for the artist a way of working and thinking and accepting the problems an artist is dealing with, because usually art is a medium for an artist to come over his or her problems.
Okay, wow, I think that's an absolutely lovely answer there. So to express or overcome, we wouldn't say come over. Is it a distraction? I love your comment about giving our life meaning, absolutely. Is it a distraction? Again, I'd go back to one of the points we said earlier about the cultural attractions. Is it a distraction? Can be a distraction. If you think of even watching a movie, a beautiful movie, can be a very welcome distraction or a welcome form of relaxation when most people nowadays are so stressed and are working really hard. Art can just give a sense of perspective, we could say, and just give people something else to think about or something else to focus on. Anna, that was a million times better than your first one. Absolutely a million times better. You come across as so joyful and so enthusiastic in your answers. Try not to say, oh my God, in the middle. I think it makes me laugh, but might not make the examiner laugh. Keep it super formal, okay? But that was really, really good. Well done, you.